right here and right. Peace, 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 and gratitude and love. Here we are coming to you from Sacred Keys University, located in Detroit, Michigan. Ashe, with our guest today, Empress Jennifer Steele L. Everybody give a wide round of applause. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe. Islam, peace and love, Empress. Thank you.
Ashe, Ashe. So let us get started. I have been so excited about us coming together today, sis. It's amazing how we are in alignment with the universe, for those who do not know. But before we go any further, may we always start our rituals and giving gratitude and thanks to our ancestors. So we want to just do a little intro of a ritual, starting with pouring of libations, because this message today is dealing with our ancestors. So we want to usher our ancestors in. How does this work for those who may not know? What we're going to do is we're going to ask you to sit somewhere in a quiet room for just a second, okay? And as you sit inside quietly within this room, we are going to ask you to go into as they say, a quiet place within yourself. Take a couple of deep breaths and release. And we're going to pour libations. I'm going to use my little ancestral plant that I usually have on my altar to pour libations. We're going to get a glass of water. We speak love, light, and abundance and gratitude into our water, and we pour our libations. How do you pour the libations? You call out your ancestors' name, and you calling their name out. Pouring the libations sends energy to your ancestors, Ashe. So as we go further, we're going to call out their names. I'm going to start off first by calling off my mother, Elaine Telly Boggs, Ashe. You call out your ancestors. Ashe, Ashe, Dorothy Talley, Ashe, Janice Freeman, Ashe, Ashe Akila Johnson, Ashe, to all our ancestors known and unknown, Ashe. And then we're going to ask the spirit to come into the room. We're going to ask some of our spirit guides to come on in. We're going to ask Mama Oshun, Ashe, to come into the room. We're going to ask for Oya to come into the room, Ashe. We're going to ask for Shango to come into the room, Ashe. We're going to ask Ogun, come into the room, Ashe. We're going to ask for Abatala, come into the room, Ashe. We're going to call on Aphrodite, Ashe, and enter into the room, Ashe. And to all the spiritual guides, known and unknown, we give thanks and gratitude, Ashe. To all the ascended masters, we give gratitude and thanks, Ashe, 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 oh. Now, as we continuously go on, we have Empress over there still pouring libations. We can't hear you, Empress, Ashe.
Yes, Islam. I just want to add a few more people if I can. Islam. I want to give thanks and peace and love to MAAT for always being here, protecting us. Ashe. And then I want to pour libations for Noble Drew Ali, for Marcus Garvey, for E. Milliel, and all the ones that has been trying to help uplift fallen humanity. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe all. Islam, Hotep, and Namaste. Thank you, Empress. Okay, Empress, come on back. Come on back.
All right.
Take
Peace,
yourself off.
love.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Y'all work with me. This is new equipment that I'm learning to navigate. So we grateful for Empress being a perfect guide and a big sister and helping me actually navigate through this, Ashe. So once again, we have our very own Empress Jennifer Steele here with us, coming from MAAT Divine Podcast and Ministries. So we're going to give a moment for Empress to really give us an understanding and a foundation of what it is that they're teaching over here on MAAT's Divine Podcast. Ashe.
Ashe, Islam, peace and love. First, Empress, I'm going to go ahead and give you your flowers. I thank you and I appreciate you. The teachings that you're trying to give for us, the things that you're doing, the Sacred Keys for You University, Kingdom Keys, the school for the children, youth, men. I get so much thanks for that. Now, I am Jennifer Lynn Steele Ill, the CEO, founder of MAAT Divine Podcast and Ministries. Now, I went into Kemetic teachings after studying a lot of different things. I was born and raised Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal. Then I went and studied Jehovah Witness. Then I went from there and started studying the Israelites. Then I went from there and started studying the Nation of Islam. Then I went from there to Buddhism. And then I went from there to nationality. And studying all those things, I found a lot of different things and a lot of loopholes in a lot of the things. And in studying the Christianity, I was itching to understand who am I before Christianity. Christianity is only so many years old, and me and our ancestors is way before then. So how do we get to Christianity? And so in learning that, or trying to find my way through life, trying to study thyself, I started going over the Kemetic principles. Then I started going over and analyzing the 42 laws of MAAT, divine law. Then I started going over the 10 commandments that Moses brought. And I was looking at a lot of parallel to each other. So it made me want to go deeper. And then after experiencing a traumatic issue in 2020 during the COVID, it brought me to my spirituality. And then when it brought me to my spirituality, I started studying MAAT, which is integrity, balance, love. Now, MAAT is a Kemetic principle goddess, and she judges you the feather according to your heart. So in learning that there was different other ones like Isis and Anubis, but MAAT kept sticking to me. Feather of your heart. And I call myself love. Love is my superpower. But why I keep going to MAAT, which weighs you the feather of your heart? And the only thing I can keep coming up with was 3 major things. Even though we have the 7 ideals and the 42 laws of MAAT, it's 3 words that always stuck to me that I carry on in life right now. And that's my actions, my principles, and my deeds. And everything that talks about your action, your principle, and deeds lines up with MAAT. Who you are, what you believe is right or wrong, your honesty, your loyalty, justice, compassion. It was like a guide to choices to who we are in life. So what happens is MAAT is not on you. It should be in you. Your everyday life should be MAAT. You should always be walking in love. And what I mean by that is, how can I say this without people wanting to go all over the place? Even when you're mad at somebody, even when you're upset, you are okay to be upset for that moment. But love conquers all. Love overpowers everything. And one thing MAAT teach that is love. So once it's time to be judged and that heart give way to that feather, it's going to be about your actions, your principles, and your deeds. And it goes hand in hand with so much that is crazy because, of course, like I said, the actions is the things that we do in life, you all. Our fears, pressure, impulse, the way we treat each other, how we love on each other, how when someone do be angry with you or do be mean to you, how do you react to that? Or how do you handle that? Or, what do you do with that? and then your principles. Of course, well, hold on. Let me go with the deeds. Because once you go with your actions, your deeds is what people remember about you and who you are. And that says a lot about your integrity and your balance. That goes back to MAAT. So your deeds is no matter how much a person gets upset or angry with you, how did you handle it? How did you respond? And most importantly, how did it make you feel? Because we fight with our higher self and our lower self every day. But again, I don't want to get too long in it. I just want to give a brief discussion of what MAAT is, what it is for me. MAAT is in me. It's not on me. Every day that I wake up, 10 toes on the ground, I check myself about my actions, my principles, and my deeds. Islam, Empress.
Islam. Beautiful intro, Goddess. Thank you for explaining to us the balance of MAAT and the characteristics of MAAT and its importance, which is a great intro into what our topic is today, in which our topic is talking about the family structure. And the family structure is, Spirit guide me in the right direction. The family structure is so vitally important that we have to acknowledge that the system of how we have been raised, how we have been influenced. What's the other thing? Spirit, bring it to me. The way that we have addressed life in itself and dealing with the family. For most of us, we have encountered some form of unbalance within the family system. And that unbalance has been caused through the village being the greatest influence to one child. We grew up always hearing, oh, it takes a village to raise a child, right? So today I would like to do a little alchemy. And I want us all to tap into our childlike energy. And I want you to just revisit your childhood through a lifespan of memories, a lifespan of existence, a lifespan of trauma, a lifespan of reflections, okay? And in doing so, like I say, I'm glad that my sister introduced us to MAAT, because the unbalance of MAAT's energy has been stripped out of our households through the separation of the family itself, okay? From fathers being taken out of the homes, to mothers having to step into masculine roles to be able to provide for their households and their family, to children being resistant to receiving sound wisdom, to our children being rebellious and disrespectful, to now we are in a world or a community, a village of lost seeds, of lost ancestral seeds. But today, what we're doing is we're claiming back the royalty of our DNA. Each one of you who are present here right now, the spirit of the ancestors have brought you to this platform in this moment, in this time, whenever it reaches you, because you were what? You chose to be the one that they dreamed of. You chose to be the one who they have sacrificed so much for us to be able to be present here and now. Okay. So, we're going to discuss a couple of things, and we're going to be very authentic with you as we move forward. As my sister posted throughout the month, get ready for that uncomfortable conversation, okay? Those things that we do not want to discuss, we have to start discussing them in order to heal them. What are those discussions? Okay, I'm mad with my mama. I'm mad with my daddy. I can't stand my cousin. Oh, every time this heifer come over here. We have energy that have been built up so much to the point where now we have resentment within the family and the structure of the household. MAAT, the balance of energy, has been removed from the family. So now we operate more in our egotistical mindsets and our expectations of one another instead of our love for one another. Okay. So once again, I'm also introducing my book, the Return of the Ancestral Throne. In this particular book, you're going to find out and you're going to learn how each title does not always mean entitlement, right? Because we grew up with that famous saying that was always saying, do as I say and not as I do, right? That if that wasn't a contradiction, I don't know what was. If that wasn't a spell, I don't know. Then there was the spell of what happens in this house stays in this house, right? And that caused a lot of us to become witnesses to things that happen in closed doors, but we weren't allowed to be able to express it openly. And some of those wounds kept us stuck in a cycle. Ashe. I'm gonna ask Empress if she can go back and her timeline and be able to share with us, even if it wasn't her personal experience, some of the experiences that you've heard of your friends and, you know what I'm saying, your cousins and things that had happened that nobody wanted to talk about. But, you know, it was always somebody that you went to that somebody to tell somebody. And the question was, did they believe you? Did they stand up for you? Did they protect you? You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask Empress, do you know anyone in your family, in your household, or connected around you who really needed that help but couldn't get it? Do you have an experience?
Islam, Empress. Yes, I do. Actually, I ended up doing like at the time I wasn't completely in my spirituality, but I did like a call, like a women's call for us to come together and speak and help each other and just get things out. And in that, these ladies, you all, was 40, 50, and 60 years old. And in this setting, I learned that so many of these women suffer with different substance abuse because they was brought up that what happens in this house stays in this house. And if you go outside this house and tell anyone, either the CPS will come and get you. You don't want them to take you, right? So you better not tell what's going on in here. Or you want a butt whooping? You want a stench gourd to your butt? So you better be quiet. Or do you want me to buy you something or buy you these type of things in order for, you to keep your mouth shut? I'm talking about, again, 40, 50, and 60-year-old women I'm in this room with so we can discuss things throughout our life. And these women literally told me, I am still dealing with it to this day because my mother or my grandmother told me to keep my mouth shut and take it to the pastor. Take it to the church and ask the pastor. No, she's going to take it to the church and have the pastor pray for us and pray for our family. And whatever is going on or whoever has done what, they're going to take them to the pastor and cast that demon out of them. And they're not going to be the same person anymore. But these grown women with children and grandchildren told me that they had to go back home and still be in the settings of this same person, scared, frightened, because they don't know if it's going to happen again. But because you got to keep your mouth shut and don't say anything, you're traumatized. Now you're dealing with the PTSD or an adverse childhood experience where something traumatic happens to you. And now you can't say anything. So every day that you come home from school, your heart is beating because you don't know if the same thing is going to happen to you because grandma and mama said, keep your mouth shut because something's going to happen to you. I told you, I took it to the pastor and the pastor then prayed for us and prayed over the house. And the pastor then prayed demons to come out of somebody else that needed their own professional healing or needed life to be dealt with them in their own way, not the way that the pastor has said. So again, that was one of the ways that I can remember as clear as day as yesterday that I know women, grown women, that went on their whole life dealing with not trusting men in relationships, not wanting to be what they needed to be because they was afraid that certain things would happen. Those things live with you throughout your life when it goes unheard and your voice don't come across. That's why one of the biggest things that goes on in my house is we listen to children. Children are made to be heard and not seen. That thing, children are made to be seen and not heard. I don't even know the analogy of someone that will say that. Why wouldn't you want to hear the things that's coming out of your children's mouth every day? They're learning, they're growing. The more that you listen to them and conversate with them, you will get to know them better and see what type of person they are or what they're leading to grow up to. But because they have to shut up and be quiet and stay in a place because they should be seen and not heard, now they think that their voice doesn't matter. So now the things could go on in the house. What goes on in this house stays in this house because they said I had to be seen and not heard. So my mouth means nothing. My mouth doesn't matter. It's just for me to be seen. Islam.
And this is so much true. Not only just from the perspective of, let me get back on here. Not just from the perspective of keeping your mouth closed, but let's break down what we mean when we say trauma, and transferring a vibration of negative energy from one generation to the next. We found out that through this particular activity, a lot of us not only had to keep our mouths closed, but we also had to endure trauma from those who were afraid of the truth coming out. And they knew you knew the truth, right? So what did they do? They sabotaged who you were to make sure that you were so low in energy that you felt bad about the situation. So you never really got the justice. Come on, Maya. You never got the ushering in of healing that trauma. So throughout lifetimes, we find ourselves passing trauma down to the next generation. This is how come, if you notice, like in the old school, if a woman was pregnant, they would nurture that woman, darn near spoil that woman. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they understood that her vibrational emotion, the child's development when it comes down to passing down DNA and trauma within the woman's involvement of the woman, creating and molding and nurturing this child into existence. So the ancestors and our mothers before us already knew that when a woman became pregnant, it was a time for us to really honor her, to protect her, to make sure that she had the necessary nutrients and the environment stayed in a high vibration, because guess what? Her emotional state was something serious to endure during that time. But we've gotten so far removed from even caring about our women where they're carrying our children. We put more stress, more anger, more frustration on to that woman. And this is why, because we haven't healed the trauma that came before the conception of the child. Okay, so in this conception of us creating a alchemical process of bringing life into this existence, we're also bringing the trauma. Okay, this is going to also take us into sexual activity. But before we get to sexual activity, I want to go back to what you were talking about as far as keeping things in my house. For myself, I grew up in a system where I was in the foster system first. I grew up adopted, and my screen doing stuff. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Empress. You froze for a minute, but you're back with us.
Okay, Ashe. So y'all bear with me. The internet is acting crazy tonight because once again, this is powerful and it's going to be transformative when we get done working it and putting it all together for you all to see, so we can start claiming how to really heal each member of our family. You must first learn what the trauma was. moving up. Like I say, I was born in Westland, Michigan, in the projects. And in the projects of being a child, I was able to witness how many households were starving and how many households was affected through the 80s of the drug pandemic. Okay. How many of us as being young children, mothers were strung out on drugs and alcohol, and we had to get out in the neighborhood and fend for ourselves to eat as children. You hear what I'm saying? I'm 3 years old lining up across the street. Back then, they used to have foam lunches that came in the styrofoam packages that had what? That cookie we all love to get. We didn't want nothing else but that cookie, a box juice, a bologna sandwich, and a piece of fruit, right? Remember those? For those who was born in that area, this is where we celebrate because we overcame it. But moving forward, I remember a bunch of children in the community lining up to get that lunch because that was the only meal some of us was able to eat. Why it was that? And we were children. We were babies. Our parents got caught up in what? The world. Got caught up in the influences of the world. And in the influences of the world, they forgot about the responsibilities because at the end of the day, it became overwhelming for them. We have to remember how to heal and forgive, not just ourselves, but forgive those who what? Despitefully misuse us. Despitefully didn't know no better, right? I was adopted by a pastor and his wife. Right. And for the longest time, I used to be like, man, pray some love in these people's hearts. It was just like I couldn't believe how much anger and frustration these people had. And they had developed over time. And not only that, I was in that era of time where my adopted parents were old school traditional Baptists, you know what I'm saying, from the South. You don't ask no questions. You know what I'm saying? You might have your teeth meet you on the other side of the room. You interrupt grown folks talking. There was a certain protocol and structure that was put in place, but was it put in place for the right reasons? See, a lot of times we think our traditional ways is the best ways because it was good enough for mama. It was good enough for my father. So it got to be good enough for me too? No, the season has changed. Every 10 years, every decade, we have seen evolvement. The vehicle you had back in the 80s is not the same vehicle you're driving today. The way the structures of appliances and things that's in the house, everything we can witness has been evolving, but have we been evolving? Or have we been stuck in a vibration of what's trauma that's been built amongst the system of the family? We're not even talking about outside the house yet. We're not even talking about fighting against the world. We're just talking about within the ones that were supposed to love us. In our history, we learned that the family, if you was to look up the word and family and where the family derived from, right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to look it up for y'all. Where the family derived from, you will find out that the family was nothing but defined as a household full of slaves. You hear me? Y'all don't believe me? Look it up under the etymology of family. And what does etymology of family means? The word family originated in the 14th, 15th century, derived from the Latin familia, which referred to the household, including servants, slaves, and family members. Let's talk about it. Buddha said, if you really want to know how strong and powerful you are, spend time with your family. Why? Because slavery have put us in a place where we lost our identity as who we truly were. I don't know about you, but growing up in school, they used to have what was it called? Auditorium, where we used to have to go and sit in that classroom and watch Roots. I couldn't understand why in the devil do we need to sit here and watch how slavery took place, right? Now I understand it because once again, as children may not understand the full purpose of what things are happening or why things are happening, but it's necessary for it to happen, right? Because it's part of our structure. And we finding out today that that same structure was to remind us Because the wonderful part about MAAT is MAAT is going to always make sure that the history of truth is present. It's the decision in which you choose, Ashe. And this is how come we have to heal the family so we can stop choosing to participate in the slave mentality of our existence. Going back to those fruits and juices of the children who were in institutions and in the projects, we're talking about the lower class now. Right? That lower class of people who in the community used to have to come together and network together to feed the whole community, right? Nowadays, we don't even want to give a piece of bread to people on the corner. Nowadays, we will let our own flesh and blood starve just so we don't have to interact with them. And a lot of that is because we haven't learned how to love them. We haven't learned how to nurture them. And once again, why is that? Because of trauma bonding, and because we have been always taught to stay in silence about injustice and things that were not right. At 3 years old, I was molested by my own father, my own biological father at 3 years old in the projects. Something is distorted within our mentality when people are so oppressed within themselves that they have no clue as to what they're doing. This is why in certain narratives they said, forgive them for they know not, right? And it's like, well, no, how is somebody going to be able to do that and don't know no better? Once again, trauma is real and it exists. This is how come we have healing centers. This is how come we have MAAT Divine podcast. And we got Sacred Keys for you. This is why we have institutions where you can go and get vibrational healing, because once again, you are a vibrational spiritual being that has not been taught to acknowledge self. We've been programmed through social media, TV, and our existence, but most of all, our own village has failed us. Our own family members have failed us because, once again, people do not know who they are. They only imitate what they've been taught. Okay, I went through foster homes to realize that I went from this house to that house to that house, and every house was different, and every house had a secret. You hear what I'm saying? I know firsthand what the family system was doing. I was taken out of the projects away from my mother because she was strung out on drugs and alcohol and prostitution. And I saw things I shouldn't have seen as a child. Not to blame my mother by no means, because that was a goddess in walking. You hear me? I watched women in our community sit up and dog and talk about my mother so to a point, whereas she had no choice but to lean to her own way to provide for what she felt she needed to. She didn't have a strong community to stand up and say, sis, we got your back. We understand what happened to you. She had to be hushed. So that vibrational gene vibrated down to her children. All my siblings were put into the system. I have 5 biological siblings, and we were put into the system. The system didn't care nothing about us. You know how many houses we went to that was more corrupted than the house they took me out of? And what for? For what purpose? Because at the end of the day, we had too many people, hurt people, trying to raise more hurt people. And what does hurt people do? Come on, somebody, hurt people. So our own family began to become products of hurting each other. You want to say something, Goddess?
No, you finish up and then I'll come in once you're done.
Okay. Hurt people really want to hurt people. Why do they really want to hurt people? Because they haven't learned how to transition their negative energy that was bestowed on them, that they were silenced to have to maintain. And in that silence of maintaining that hurt, what happens? I was adopted by a pastor, a traditional pastor, and his wife. And when I say I understood the trauma, because something in me has a balance of a scale in my heart, I was able to always see the dualities of everything, even when it was traumatizing to me, right? And a lot of times we get it so messed up. We have so much empathy for other people because we can relate to what they done went through, but not realizing that we're making their trauma ours. We're taking on their trauma because we're trying to save them, because we can relate to what they went through. This is called trauma bonding. Ain't nobody getting healed. Just a circle of chaotic energy being transferred from one family member to the next. No one's loving each other enough to hear. Like God has said, the baby's trying to tell you something, but you won't listen to them. But we are such in need of always needing somebody to love us, somebody to be there, that we will turn a deaf ear to what? The wisdom of knowing, right? Just so we call it, oh, we just want to keep peace. Why we got to bring up them old wounds? Because if you don't bring them up, you will let them what? Fluster. And when they fluster, they start becoming a part of your identity. And this is what's bringing blockages in our chakras. As to why even right now, tomorrow is one of the greatest foundational days ever. February the 1st, the full moon is in Leo. It's time to claim your crown as the gods and the goddesses of who you are, but you holding on to too much malice. This is negative, dark residue energy that's blocking you from shining and being the best of who you can be, because you're still holding on to trauma. How do you know you're still holding on to trauma? Because you're still blaming your mama. You're still blaming your daddy. You're still blaming your uncle who touched you and molested you. You're still blaming your sister who wouldn't believe you and didn't stand up for you. You're still blaming people for the trauma that you have accepted into your own core. This is a thing called accountability of knowing self. I had so much hatred and so much anger built into me. But yet the wonderful thing about the ancestral energy and the gold that runs through your veins is that even in knowing that you've been mistreated, you still have a peace that passes all understanding. You still claimed whole that I'm going to love you no matter what. I had an adopted mother that every chance she got, she would beat me. You hear what I'm saying? She would beat me for her own happiness. Why? Because she grew up in a way that she had to give up her childhood. Some people say, well, why are you defending the people that beat you? No, I'm not defending them. I'm identifying what the trauma was. This part of how you heal your shadow work. This is how you heal your chakras. You go back and you find out what was the cause for it. Why did I have to experience going through these different house to house to house to house? Because so I can be here today when it was most needed for you to realize that you are hurt. I'm telling you, you hurt. You don't want to admit it. How do you know it's hurt? Because it shows up in your ego. It shows up in your attitude of how you what? Transfer from one thing to another. God, goddess, we have to heal. And we have to heal on levels that we might not feel comfortable to address. But until you address it, it's going to keep recycling. It's going to keep coming right back around. Because it was a challenge in this thing called the game of life in which you had to learn how to heal. Ashe? Ashe. You wanted to say something, goddess?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Okay. No. First, I need you to bring yourself back up, because I'm not behind you or in front of you. We beside each other, sis. I need to see you.
Ashe.
So if I need to lift you as I'm climbing, okay?
Ashe, Ashe.
Okay. First, you all. Whew, she gave us a lot. She gave us a lot. What I can say, what she's explaining to you all, is called ACEs. It's called adverse childhood experiences. As when you go through things in your childhood, you have negative, stressful, or traumatic experience. And when it happens during your childhood, it can affect a person's emotional, mental, and physical health later on in life. And for some of you that may not know what that look like, it can be physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. It could be neglect, emotional or physical. It could be growing up with domestic violence. It can be having a parent with substance abuse, mental illness, or incarceration. It could be a chronic instability, frequent moves from house to house, homelessness, not having food, not having heat or water. These are all signs and symptoms that you can see of ACEs, which is an adverse childhood experience. And she literally just gave every symptom that she had that describes that as a child. And even through her adulthood that she's going through right now, she did not let it fold her. Y'all don't even understand how the testimony is so powerful right now, because she saw the bigger picture and she didn't stay in that box. She stood on her square to come on out of it and not continue the generational curse. She made a decision and say, hey, this stops here. Now, what I do want to let y'all understand is we have parents that is 70, 80, 60, 50 years old, and we be like, oh my God, my mama lived life. No, they didn't, y'all. They survived. They never lived. They never lived. They survived. They did whatever they had to do to survive, to take care of them or their children. And with that came a lot of sacrifices, okay? What I want you to understand is I give so much thanks and blissfulness to you and gracefulness to having the courage to stand it on this today to teach the next person. You don't even know how many generations that you just broke right here today that is going to see this and say, oh my God, I never thought it was other people like this. I thought it was just me, because I grew up in a family system. What goes on in this house stays in this house. So people has never told their story, because now they're grown. They develop a family, a nice job, or maintaining that they don't want them skeletons to come out, because for one, we judge and they don't want to be judged. But we're wondering how our loving wife or our loving husband, our spouse, just keep on going out there in the streets and just keep on drinking. Why do you just keep on going to the dope house? We have a beautiful life. We have X, Y, and Z. And they never tell you anything, because they grew up in a family system. What goes on in this house stays in this house. Now I'm grown and I'm going through this stuff, and I don't know how to handle it because I never had nobody to talk to. I was raised that therapy is not for us. It's for somebody else. But if we go through therapy, that means that we crazy and we got to take pills for the rest of our life. So well, you do what you got to do to maintain, to be the best that you can be, and stop worrying about what the world thinks, because you're going to be dead and gone, and the world go still go on. They go say, damn, that person was a good person. They can cook their ass off, and then they go back on life and do the things that they need to do, because life keeps going. It does not stop. So get the healing that you need and that you want. And I got something even better. They took so much of our history away from us that we didn't have the proper therapy or therapists back then. But guess what they got now? They got holistic therapy now. They have holistic teaching that can take you back to the way that your ancestors did things to do the best that they can. So again, Empress, I give it all to you, okay? And you are the sugar honey iced tea, if y'all know what each initial of that means, because it take a bold, brave, courageous, strong woman like you to come up here and be one of the faces for the battlefield, because we're constantly in a spiritual war. You know how many people right now is like, damn, this shit hit home so bad. I can't believe she even saying this. And they gonna be looking at they shot, they beer, they drugs, or whatever, like, damn, I never cope with what's been going on. It's been embodied, but I've been using this. I've been using this temporary fix. No, I'm done.
Islam. Let me tap in right there, sis, because when we started talking, like I told you, my mother was strung out on drugs and alcohol, but so was my father. But then was my uncle. You see what I'm saying? And then when I got adopted, there was uncles and aunts that were on drugs, and that was, you know what I'm saying? But the family was able to pull together. Sometimes we have to give gratitude that we did have some family members that was there. And some of us, we was rescued by those family members. They took us into our homes. I wasn't raised by my mama, auntie, or cousin. I mean, my mama or dad. I was raised by my auntie or my grandmother, or my uncle took it. Somebody was sent to be a guardian angel to help take you through life. And sometimes we still hold so much resentment to them. You see what I'm saying? We cast a lot of blame because we haven't become confident, and comfortable within ourselves. You see what I'm saying? To be able to receive abundance and love. And right now, we're in this energy where we're supposed to be receiving love, but we don't know how to receive it. And some people say, well, that's crazy. I want love. Some of us I've never been married. I've been married. I was divorced. Blah, 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 blah. The problem wasn't that you were in the relationship with that person. The problem was that you never learned how to love you. How can we love somebody else if we haven't learned how to love ourselves first? How do you learn to love yourself first? It's to first learn how to release all that baggage, all that hurt, all that animosity, all that anger, right? And we come back to a ground rooted in knowing self to be a better reflection to other people, okay? Now, I want to back up for just a moment. And I want to read some quotes that you will find in my book. One of them is dealing with the karma in flesh, right? When we start talking about the covenant of the blood, until the lion learns, because somebody that heard this before, until the lion learns to write, every story will glorify the hunter. Until you learn how to heal what has happened to you, somebody else is going to keep dictating to you how you should act, how you respond. Child, if it was me, I would have did A, Y, and Z. No, you would have did the same thing I did, because then you would have been me. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times we don't realize how strong or what people have been through, but yet we're quick to judge them. 10 times out of 10, you judging them is because it's something in you that you envy about them. You know, some of our cousins was uppity up. Oh, they just the Diddy side of the family, right? Oh, she thinks she better than everybody else because she got a brand new car. You know what I'm saying? We are so quick to put each other down instead of see the joy and the blessing for each other. You were able to succeed. I'm cheering for you. Why? You was one of the ones that made it. You made it there. And then because you made it, you were able to give back to me. And I was able to give back to you. The second one, that was an African proverb coming from the book Kuji. For those who know about the book Kuji and you know about your ancient healing, dealing in Hindu, okay, then and dealing in Buddhism, Ashe. Family is not always your origin. Sometimes it's your initiation. Let's talk about it. Sometimes your family is your initiation. Some of us so mad with our family, we don't want to be around our family, but they the keys to your kingdom. You signed a contract, a spiritual contract to deal with these people as you live on earth. Why? Because something about them has something that's going to mold you into becoming the next best thing that you can be, because they denied you, because they mistreated you, because they scandalized your name. A lot of us take a lot of pride in being the black sheep. Well, guess what? Now it's time for the black sheep to become the light. We can't hold that forever, being mad at one another because of what happened. I don't care how detrimental it was. When do I take accountability and claim myself healed? Or do I decide to stay in that misery? Do you know how miserable and how much energy it takes to stay in a miserable place? We have become comfortable in our misery. Because it's easier to transfer the blame over to the fact that my mother wasn't always there, or the fact that my father did what he did to me, or the fact that my adopted family members, they beat me every day until I learned every bit of that Bible. You get what I'm saying? I hope y'all understanding this, resonating with you, the importance of understanding that these things happen to you not to hinder you, but to show you just how strong and magnificent you are in overcoming it. It happened then. You can tell. I keep telling people, y'all have to start taking accountability that you could tell a story of what you endured and how you endured it, and that you're here today. Wherever you may be, you're here today because you overcame it. Give some light and some glory and some happiness and joy that you overcame that. And now you get to make a decision on how the vibrational gene is going to go forward for thousands of years to come by your accepting right? Now, accepting doesn't mean that you're embodying it. It's acknowledging that this happened. This is what was done, but I forgive them and I forgive myself. Forgiveness plays a huge part as we continuously break the system that has been programming us throughout the years. Okay? Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Once again, until the lion learns to write, every story will glorify the hunter. How does it glorify the hunters? Let's be real about it. Every time you go back and start talking about what happened, and you ain't talking about a solution behind what happened. One of the reasons I can tell you what happened is because I didn't heal that part of me. So now I don't have an emotional connection to it. I have a lesson tied to it. I got a lesson to say, baby, it's okay. I know what you've been through. Now let me help you get over it. Let me show you how to get through it, not over it, because we don't want to sweep no more stuff under no rug. We want to bring it to the light. We want to know how to go to other people and let them know that, hey, you violated me. You hurt me. And you don't get to do that no more. Why? Because I claim the keys to my kingdom. I claim the victory to who I am. You as an individual, you have the right to claim back your own divinity of yourself. It's called calling your power back to you. An ancestral connection. The ancestral blood. When we're talking about, oh, my ancestors are talking to me, how do they talk to you? Through meditation, through signs, through the universe. Because one thing is for certain, you have been given the opportunity to have breath of life in your temple to what? Be the living, walking truth of existence. One of the things about the family system theory is that your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded mind. Your unguarded mind. No one can harm you once you have control of your own mind. This is how come we have created school systems. Sacred Keys for You has created school systems that are guarding the youth, vision for youth, so that the vision that the youth have, they don't lose their vision. Let's talk about that. How many of your family members put you down so much that you stop doing what you love to do? Most of us are stuck working in jobs and institutions, and we're stuck in places that we are miserable. We are hurting. And a lot of it is because, once again, the traumas of our childhood has become so overbearing within our chakras that now we have lost faith in ourselves. A lot of us still having so much expectations to titles that we are losing the essence of who we truly are as spiritual beings and moving forward. Once again, Buddha said, and I'm going to read it again, your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded mind. And truly, the unguarded mind is a traumatized family, right? A traumatized family. A traumatized family is going to what? Produce traumatized children. When we were coming up, they always said, oh, the children are the future. Yes, our children are the future. And if we don't heal our trauma, they're only going to get more and more chaotic. They will not have a solid foundation paid before them, because guess what? The key was passed down to you to create the kingdom. It was passed to you. You chose, those who were chosen, mean that you chose to accept the responsibility of what? Breaking this generational trauma. I no longer allow this to be acceptable in any form or shape or fashion, and be able to be rooted in that foundation of knowing that this is not acceptable for my family, for my household. And in doing so, am I justified? Because a lot of times people think they're doing right and they be doing wrong. Okay. We have been around some people that it's like, are you delusional? You got to be delusional to think that this is right. How do we deal and handle people who think that they are right when they're wrong? Empress, you got any suggestions on that? How do we help people who think they're right when you know why? Because you got that divinity of God within you, that built-in lie detector, that built-in vibrational alert system. How do you tap into it when you are facing other people who have no clue that they are delusional. How do we handle those people? Any suggestions, Empress? Can you hear me?
Islam. For one, I think we have. Yep, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay, everybody else?
Yes.
Okay. Islam. Look, you was going. I had to give it to. I was like, she didn't got activated. That fire.
Look,
then it got activated in her. I said, let me sit down and start taking notes. So what I would say to that, though, is you said, how do you deal with people that is wrong would think that they're right?
Right. How do we deal with those people? Because a lot of times, like I've had aunties that were trying to tell me, I had an aunt one time trying to tell me that I was supposed to put a cousin out of another cousin's house that invited his company into the house. And I'm like, no, auntie, that ain't how that works. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to respect the fact that this cuz house, this ain't your house, this cuz house. But she felt that I needed to step in and actually put somebody else out somebody else's house. And so the conflict came between me and the family that you think you're right. You're delusional. I'm here to tell you the truth. You're delusional. How can you put somebody else out somebody's house? I'm just using that for an example. You get what I'm saying? Exactly. So how do you deal with people who are distorted in their actions and think they're right? And they're part of your family and they got titles. You my auntie. You see what I'm saying? But
so first what I do is well, I will give them your opinion on how you felt with it. But I'm gonna get so really raw with it that it's gonna sound crazy, but it's reality.
Shay. She
wrong as heck because you're not supposed to do that in somebody's house. Period. But we living in a 3D realm, y'all. Stay with me, in a 3D world. That who's to say that she was wrong? Because according to her level of understanding, what she was doing was the right thing. Because she might have been raised in a family system that we go into each other's shit and we put each other out. It's everybody else's stuff because this is just what we do. This is what we was taught. This is how we was raised. You know, we tell each other what to do in somebody else's house. But we know that it's wrong. But to them, it ain't wrong because my mama did it. My mama's mama did it. My mama's mama did it. So who is you to tell me I'm wrong when this has been our survival mechanism growing up through our whole life? So now we sitting up here confused as adults, don't know what the hell to do like you. You like, nah, this is wrong as hell. I'm not putting somebody else out of somebody else's house. But she on the other end, like, I don't know why you don't do it. This is normal. I don't know why you acting like this is not right. And this is not what we're supposed to be doing. But we've been trauma bonded from birth. And when I say from birth, I'm only to use my own personal experience. And that is, I had to realize that I was living in my ego so hard, my ego and pride my whole life, because I was raised by a house full of men and a strong woman, that you stay independent, you get your own money, you take care of yourself, don't let nobody do nothing for you, because ain't nobody gonna love you. Okay, so you take care of yourself and you be strong, because don't trust nobody out here in the world. For whatever reason why that I never knew, I grew up always making sure that I had it together, being headstrong. You can't tell me what to do. No, this is how I was so dominant. I was so toxic, okay? And two, I had to learn how to face my shadow self. I had to learn how to let my ego and pride die and realize that I don't want to be the hardcore woman. The hardcore woman has did nothing but cause nothing but heartache and pain to people. And now hurting people is hurting people, like she said earlier, you all. So now I'm at the age of almost 40, and now I'm seeing how to be a soft girl and how love has been my superpower my whole life. But I have been showing it through a whole nother way with a shadow and a wall up. But I've been always showing love, but I had to hide it in the way that I do it, because you can't just flat out bring it out because you're not raised like that. If you show any type of weakness, you're a punk, you soft, people go run over you. and you just not gonna be able to survive in this world because it's gonna eat you up alive. So with that, oh my God, talk about so much trauma going on, especially in the melanated, the African, especially in the indigenous nation and communities. We have been brought up again the best way that they know how, because for one, the color of our skin, and for two, we always have to listen to what happened to grandma and granddad, and then three, we had to grow up to be a certain type of way and keep our mouth shut and don't say nothing. Do you know that's a lot on a kid? When they become an adult, they're going to have so much chronic anxiety and depression and emotional numbness. It's going to be crazy. Us as adults, now we're having difficulty trusting others. And now we're having a strong reaction to conflict because we don't know how to resolve it in a peaceful way. We want to fight, flight, freeze, and do all this other stuff, but just take a moment to breathe and love on each other the way we're supposed to do. And then again, we start pleasing people to survive, to survival skills. Islam, I digress.
Ashe, peace.
Yeah.
And you hitting on some very important factors. And one of them is I want to bring out some of the demons spiritually, because we wrestle not against. I can't hear you, goddess.
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay. So one of the things that you hit on, I want to bring a little bit more clarity to, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but angels and principalities and things we do not see. What we don't realize is the reason why it's so vitally important that we have this conversation on today, because in moving forward, we need to be able to identify the demons that are spreading within our family. Okay. And some of these demon spirits are initiating certain patterns to make sure that it echoes to the next generation. We have been charged to be able to bring awareness to this, right? So how do we identify when there's a demon spirit within the family, right? Those things that we can't see. There are certain things that we vibrationally feel throughout our DNA and our body, which is our ancestors bringing awareness to you through your body, okay? Through pains, through aches, through ringing in your ears, through numbness, through tingling. You know what I'm saying? Spirit is always communicating with us, but we have to bring awareness. So we're going to bring some awareness right here, right now. We're going to learn how to ground ourselves and how to clear some of this demon energy. Okay. First of all, let's bring awareness. What is some of the awareness? We repeat addictions, abuse, and abandonments, silence, and rage. If you find yourself in that category where you're constantly repeating in your subconscious mind the thought of what happened, when it happened, who did it, and it brings about that energy that you feel, that rage within yourself, let's be honest about being aware of what we're feeling. It's a role of you being forced to still face your childlike trauma. When we say children are raising children, I'm still mad at what happened. So now I'm taking that anger and frustration out on other people. Can you bring awareness that you are actually keeping that trauma going, even if you're not the one causing or doing the trauma? Okay. Then we need to also bring awareness to unspoken trauma, the pass through behaviors, not magic. Okay. A lot of times be like, oh, it was magic how she overcame it. No, she just brought awareness to it. Sometimes just bringing awareness to it will make the ancestors go in and start helping you to heal it, to maneuver around it, because now you're starting to realize the toxicity of being passed down from one generation to the next. Let's talk about it. Me as a mother, right? I have 3 daughters, 3 beautiful, intelligent, strong. When I say these girls are amazing, I call them sisters with purpose, okay? When they can put the 3 of them minds together, they do some phenomenal things. However, me as a mother at one point in time was so toxic in my children's life, I was passing down the trauma that was beaten into me, right? Because what was good for mama, we said this earlier, was also good for me, right? So how I was getting beat and how I was being structured in my environment, I started to structure it into their environment, not realizing that I'm passing trauma down to trauma. Remember, I told you my adopted mother beat me, right? Because she was beat, because she was overlooked, because she had to take on responsibilities that wasn't supposed to be in hers. Because why? Her daddy wound up leaving her mother, my grandmother, with 4 children that she had to turn around and become the man and the woman in the house. So my grandmother had to go and get 2 or 3 jobs so she can maintain a household to take care of 4 children. And that responsibility of being mama fell on my adopted mother. You know how much weight that was on that woman to have to take on the responsibility of her siblings, a household, maintaining the response. She wasn't ready for it yet. But because she was the eldest, now we're starting to identify roles that I was telling you that don't have entitlement. Because she was the eldest, now she has to take on the responsibility that was not hers. You know how much anger, frustration, disappointment that she had? Then on top of that, your siblings ain't really trying to give you no respect like you, mama. You my sister. I ain't got the answer to you. I ain't got to listen to you. But then if they don't act right and do what she telling them to, she got beat when my grandma came home. Let's talk about this. Why was this happening? Not because people just wanted to be mean or just because people just have negative spirits, but because through slavery of the trauma of getting beat from slave masters, I'd rather beat you than let them beat you, right? And this echo of trauma passed on from one generation to the next. I would beat you before I let them beat you. Back in the 70s, the 80s, it was all about, oh, you got to make sure you're in the line with the police. They installed fear through slavery, and now it echoes in our own environment because now we would beat each other just off of GP. Trauma being passed down through DNA. Am I making sense, somebody? So once again, let's finish identifying. The nervous system programs learned before you could even make a choice. Some of our trauma came before we even could really identify that it was a trauma. We thought it was so normal to just have to be able to go through these things. In psychology, this is called intergenerational trauma. Intergenerational trauma. This is spiritual language that people call it ancestral spirits or demons. You rather influence the good things about your village and the people that was around you, or you embodied the bad things. And when I say the good and bad, because they do not exist, you chose to rather operate in your higher self, or you chose to operate in your lower self. Because once again, whatever was the most comfortable for you, that's the one you gravitated to. And a lot of times we wind up going down the wrong road because we're constantly trying, as I always tell people, trying to entertain other people. A lot of times I remember there were moments that grandma, aunties, and sisters would get on the phone and talk so bad about whatever the trauma was or whatever it is that went on with one another, not realizing that they were keeping on a cycle of trauma. The nervous system is programming the learned behavior. You see your children, now let's bring it up to modern day time. We see our children mimicking what they see around us, and we don't stop it. Oh, it's so cute. How is that cute if they're being rude, disrespectful? How is that cute? Just because they little? You know that little one gonna grow up and be a big one day. And it ain't gonna be so cute no more. So let's talk about that, Empress. How do we deal with our children who are being programmed to be okay with being rude, disrespectful, and moving in our communities moving forward? How do we break that type of generational curse? How do we break? And when I say we as the village, as the role models, as the chosen ones who have took on this embodiment to what? Change the vibration. How do we help the generation to come to stop this behavior?
Peace and love. First, we start by changing ourselves. We start by working on ourselves. We start by facing the person in the mirror. the woman in the mirror, the man in the mirror. You know, we always point a finger at somebody while three more is pointing back at us. We're always telling somebody about what they need to do and how messed up they are. But we messed up in different ways. May not be the way that they're messed up, but we got other stuff going on too. So it starts with ourselves. We have to take a moment to look at ourselves, to face our own demons. When people be like, oh man, I ain't gonna let the devil get me today. That ain't the devil. That's your own demons inside of you. Don't blame that on something outside of you, because everything that's going on is what's a part of you, your higher self and your lower self. So deal with yourself. And it's not pretty. When you really have to deal with your shadow work, you go laugh, you go cry, you go scream, you go be mad, you go through so many different phases until you learn how to control your demons, until you know how to release that demon when it's time to release, and not letting it always spaz out every chance that you get. Because again, we going back to that ACE, this adverse childhood experience, that now you're grown, that now we're going through health issues, high blood pressure, heart disease, autoimmune disease, chronic pain, digestive problems, headaches, migraines, sleep disturbances. Do you know that that's hereditary? That's passed down from generation to generation. I have a lot of health elements right now that I'm dealing with, but I'm working on it to get it on out. Matter of fact, it is out. We just gonna put that in the universe. But was dealing with a lot that it didn't have nothing to do with I was eating wrong, I was doing the wrong things, I was eating too much sweets. It came from being hereditary. My father gave me everything that he had, just put it right into my DNA. Okay, so I was born into that sin, into that curse, because we don't know how important that the generation hereditary go down. The older that we got, it became traditional to cut that slop and make those chitlins and make that fat back in them ham hocks, but you don't know that it's making your sodium level go 4 times the normal level. But now grandma done made that, and she done made that stretch for a week straight, because we didn't have the money that we needed to have to take care of our families. So we had to do what we had to do. So we had to buy that high blood pressure bag of potatoes. We had to go get that slop that was thrown to us from slavery to give us the outside of everything else that was going on. And may I add, we made a meal out of it, and we made it the best damn thing it can be. And now we even got everybody trying to get it and taste it and eat it. So I give a pat on the back for us indigenous people doing the work that we needed to do, because we made a way out of no way, first and foremost. But secondly, we have to take a look at ourselves again. And when you talk about the children that's going on, because we got to think. I said that, y'all, to say that it's in our foods. This food is processed. The food is killing us. The food is making us think all these type of ways, even with the children that want to talk back, be disrespectful, and do all the things that they're doing to the parents. They're trying to kill us whichever which way. But we're continuing the generational curse. Sorry, y'all, I just got to go there. And we still eating the slop with the bacon and the chitlins and the ribs that's having us having congestion, heart failure. And we just an inch away from not being here no more. But it tastes so good that I got to feed these parasites and this mucus in my body that I can't let it go, because the parasites is a whole nother form of an addiction. And now your body wants that every single day. So I digress to give it back to you, Empress. But again, we got to start with ourselves, the person in the mirror. And then we just got to understand it's in everything. It's in our TVs. It's in our music. It's everything that we do. They designed it to let it curse our kids and ourselves. Islam.
Peace. Definitely. So now you took us right into the programming. What has been programming you this far? I asked you that. When you take after this feed, I want you to get a notebook and a piece of paper and sit still and ask yourself, what has programmed you throughout your lifetime? At the very beginning, we were talking about actually doing alchemy and during this feed. This is part of it. Writing it down brings a communication in the ethers to bring awareness to it. Okay. So once you start bringing awareness to how it automatically happens. Sometimes we don't realize we're toxic until it's too late, until we done hurt somebody's feelings, till all of a sudden somebody lashing out on us, right? We don't realize how toxic we have been in keeping these cycles going, because once again, I'm hurting. Hurt people. And because I'm hurting, I haven't learned, and I said this earlier on my Facebook feed, we haven't learned the proper communications to deprogram the spell. Okay? We haven't learned the quite how to deal with the triggers of shame, fear, unloyalty. We haven't learned how to overcome individual attacks, right? So we respond unhealthy to when unhealthy people come and attack us. I'll be damned if you do that again. I do it one more time and see what happened, right? We will coach ourselves into trauma instead of acknowledging, hold on, Spirit, what you're trying to really bring to my awareness. Because when you come to a place of sincere alignment with self, you start to realize that even the trauma, the triggers are here to what? Guide you through something, bring awareness to something. You remember, you are the healer. You are the chosen one. You have been chosen to break the cycle of whatever the trauma is that's what? Interfering with you right here and right now. Okay. How do we acknowledge this? Because once again, you feel it internally, right? You feel it automatically. It's not something that comes over a period of time. Honestly, you feel it right here and you feel it right now. But a lot of times we turn what's called a blind eye to it. We let it fester. That's nothing but negative energy, negative elementals grabbing more energy. These are spiritual things or beings and entities that are waiting for the window of opportunity, and you are the vessel that they're going to utilize to embody to keep the energy going. Becoming more aware of yourself brings you to a place where you speak out about the things that are what been internally signaled to you, to become the voice of reason, to become the voice of peace, to bring forth a cease in this trauma being passed down to a next generation. Ashe? Then you also see and you start to feel bigger than the individual. Let's talk about it. That was something you mentioned a little bit earlier, right? A lot of times it's because the trauma exists because we're still trying to have more control over one another. Come on, MAAT. MAAT's concept is not about controlling. Like the sister said, you're not behind me, sis. Let's get side by side. Right? Because we're in a balance of understanding and truth. We want to see each other rise to being the best and the highest and the greatest of one another. So therefore, I'm going to always uplift you. I'm going to always honor you. And sometimes we get honor mixed up with having to be what's the right word? Come on, Spirit, bring it to me. Having to be subject to or obligated to. Because you my mama, because you my sister, because you my brother, I have to be obligated to being here for you. Maybe because you was there for me. Like I said, maybe you was that one person that spoke up for me. But guess what? You still had traumas, and now your traumas are starting to hinder me because now you're just an alcoholic because you took on that burden. And so now I feel I have to constantly be in cahoots with you and aligned with you, because at the end of the day, once again, trauma bind with you. So now I'm taking on something that ain't got nothing to do with me. Come on, Dorothy, get back on the yellow brick road so you can find your way home, please. And let them traumas be theirs, because people have to start taking accountability for their own. The question is, where's your accountability? And are you what? Acting automatically, or are you speaking with an internal voice within self? Right? The feeling of the external that lives too. We have to identify these demons, right? So we talk about the external of understanding what is external trauma doing in my feelings and in my emotions. It's because it's triggering and signaling to the subconscious mind, to the nervous system, and most of all, it's creating conditions within the family. So now we find mothers hating against their daughters because their daughters are useful, and they're you know what I'm saying, they're finally in a position now where they get to claim that part of my life that I wasn't able to finish. You see what I'm saying? Oh, so now fathers feel, oh, so now they're beating and killing their sons. Why? Because he's trying to overpower me. Let's talk about it. I've seen family members pull guns on family members. I got nephews and cousins that's shooting at each other. What? How is this? And we call ourselves a family of love, right? Love conquers all, right? Let's talk about when we cast this other spell that people don't realize is a spell, when we say, you my ride or die. You my ride. Why we got to die? Why is we riding together so one of us can die? Why don't you be my forever and lift me up? I ride to live with you. I ride to journey with you. I ride to thrive with you. Why don't we speak more life into each other? Because once again, we've been conditioned with these demons that has been passed down through family tradition. We, like the sister said at the very beginning of this feed, we have learned how to become survival beings, not spiritual beings. As long as we're in survival mode, like my sister said, we are in 3D energy. This means you are not evolving, you are not in alignment, and you're not fulfilling your purpose of what you were sent here for. Do you understand I really want y'all to understand this. You're so brilliant that you now are being attacked on every level. And who better than your own internal family, who knows the ins and outs, who know the secrets that nobody else knows? How these cycles can be actually broken, one of them is not through fear. And a lot of times we be thinking that, oh, this is really installing. Like I will even tell you the truth. I have to catch myself sometimes when I be like, listen, I will beat the crap out of you. You do that one more time. That's installing fear. I don't want to beat nobody. I really don't want to have to whoop nobody but. So therefore, what we have to do is learn how to be impeccable with our wording of what we say into each other's lives. I want the best for you. I need to learn how to communicate to you on a level where you're ready to what? Receive it. Right? This is where we start naming the patterns of what we know is not helping the family to grow and become whole. We have to stop refusing unconscious loyalty. Okay? Once again, I'm not obligated to you because you decided to do something for me. I'm grateful for you. Right? But that does not make me a slave to you just because you did it. And a lot of times the demon is called control. We want to control somebody else because of the title, because you're my mama, because you're my sister, because you're my cousin. I have to do these things. No, you do not. You do not have no loyalty to no one but self. But in your loyalty of self, it teaches you who is for you and who is not for you. How do you know this? Because your body gives you a peace that passes all understanding. And when I come around you, I feel uplifted. I feel empowered. I feel at peace because I'm in your presence. Ashe? Hold on. The family conditioning and learning how not to follow in survival strategies. Nothing is processing you or pushing you, but you decide what is acceptable and what's not. This is how come the influence of the community was so dominantly important in raising one child, because that one child is not going to do what you want them to do because you feel that they're so talented that they're going to be the one that's going to break the cycle and bring you to riches, fame, and ability. So we put all the weight on one person in the family to be able to make sure that they be successful so that they can come back and save the rest of the family. Then that person makes success and forget about the family. Now all of a sudden we can't stand that person. We toxic as a family. We're toxic. I'm going to say it again, as a family. And we have to learn how to what? Detach ourselves from always wanting to have the authority to control everybody else in the family. How does this cycle, once again, actually works in breaking it? Become aware. Name what the problem is. No, hold on. I'm gonna call that demon out of you. Come here. Let's come here. No, sit down. Let's talk about this. Why are you doing this? What causes you to do this? Ask the who, what, whens, and where's in your life. I promise you, the answers and the ancestors and your DNA will show up and give you the answers. The question is, are you in a place where you are centered enough to receive those answers? Or would you sit up and debate with it and deny it? If the truth, once again, knock at your door, would you sit there and really debate with the truth? And sometimes we debate with the truth because we don't want to accept the fact that we are the ones who are toxic. We don't want to take accountability for being the one who is the toxic one in the family. How do you know you the toxic one? Because soon as they come, girl, you know so-and-so and so-and-so. So we get that gossiping spirit. If we don't got that gossiping spirit, then we get that putting the other one down spirit. You could have wore that better. That's all. That's the best you had. That's the best you could do. Our comments, our little smart, what's the right words? Spirit, bring it to me. Nonchalant ways of speaking to each other that has nothing to do with love, balance, or truth or justice. Those are farthest from right away from us because once again, I don't want to be looked at as being the problem. So I'm going to make you the problem. You the toxic one. When all you can do is see all the wrong in the people that you claim you love. How do you love me and all you can see is my wrong? When you going to start praising some of the good things and the righteousness of who I am? When are you going to help me lift me up? Now let's talk about it. Everybody that's in your bloodline ain't your family. They ain't your family. We just took you to etymology where we showed you that the family is a household full of slaves because when they put you on the auction block, they auctioned you off from your original tribe and forced you to be in a family with different tribes of people. This is how come sometimes you be in a family and be like, don't none of y'all look alike. Because the DNA doesn't lie. It trickles down from bloodline to bloodline. Even in conception, it still transfers. This is how come you look like an auntie and uncle that was before you. This is how come one of your hands and one of your legs might be smaller or shorter than the other because you are made up of an embodiment of ancestors. And in your meditations, you can actually go within and call them to come. Now let's talk about it. How do we resurrect our ancestors and usher them into the energy that's coming? In this new moon up under Leo, we get to crown. We get to crown our ancestors by accepting the crown for ourselves and living so that their truth may be able to echo through our existence. So therefore, everything that is toxic in my life, it's time for me to learn how to go in, do the energy work to heal it. Ashe? Goddess, you got anything to say? I've been talking for a minute. We're finna get ready to close it out in a minute. I know it's been a little bit lengthy, but I hope you all are really grasping the concept that me and Goddess are and the importance of why the family system must come to an end. The government has taken my daughter away from me. Now you talking about breaking generational curses. Yes, I'm here to tell you the government unlawfully stole my daughter. I'm coming back. Brothers, sisters that know the law, it's time for us to come together and really teach each other how to become sovereign, independent beings. Claim back our native inheritance. Put yourself in institutions, or not institutions, in classes where you can learn these things. Start treating people with the same dignity and respect that you deserve, because you never know what people done been through. They took my mama's children, then they came back and they wasn't able to take all three of my kids, but they was able to snatch one of them. You hear what I'm saying? And so that generational trauma is still embedded in a lot of us who had to endure those type of transitions. Some of us lost cousins, aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters in the system, and it was unjust. Some of it was unjust. But what are we doing about it as a village, as a community? We just allowing it to happen because guess what? It ain't none of my business. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I know what it feels like to sit and not have not one person stand behind you, not one person to ever ask what happened. And you still got to be strong enough to fight the battle that come before you the next day. I'm trying to tell you, how to heal is to become aware of it and be able to stand in your truth and your justice. It's time for us to break the family patterns. And I know I just asked the question, sis. Did you want to jump in there? I forgot what the question was because the spirit guided me there. Spirit said, hold on, before you get off, you got to mention this part. Because too many of our children is lost in this system, and this system just want to use them for the labor. Go ahead, Goddess. I apologize for the, but you know what I'm saying? Spirit want me to touch you.
It's Lime. You was going. Listen. What I will tell you is you needed this. I needed this. We needed this. Because you're going, okay? You're going. And what I'm noticing as you're going is you're healing your childlike child. Because you're speaking out things that you've been holding on to. Even whether it's in the book or not, whether you just spoke how many classes and said it, doesn't even matter. Right now, today, what I see, the vibrations and the energy that I'm getting from you is this is a part of your healing journey as well right now on here. Because your emotions, the empathy, and the vibrations that you bring in, it's like, I can't believe this shit happened, but God damn it, I'm going to keep going because I'm going to change it. I just want y'all to hear me of what's going on. Hear my cry that you don't see. You know, feel my battles that you're not going through. But I'm not going to let it get the best of me. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to knock this out. Like I done knocked everything out. And even in all the stories you have told us today, and even with your daughter, you're still not stopping. How many people you know would have gave up and said the system won? I give up. I can't do it. You know, because you get tired and you get weary over time. But many are called and few are chosen. And that's why you have to keep your heart as light as a feather, because we need the Mayats out here for people like me and my sister, Goddess EGBEKEMI OSHUNLEWA, because we still have to heal a lot of hurting that we have within each other, and it's only going to happen in our communities. I don't know why y'all keep on thinking that it's going to happen 100 million miles away. That's in a galactic area. That's where you got to go to SACREDKEYZ for you and learn that part. I got to keep you right here on earth for a minute and let you know that you need to get with your communities. Listen, you know, I need to talk to you for a second, or can I just tell you something? Because back in the day, we watched ourselves. We didn't go to a babysitter and you get in trouble. No, nobody even knew nothing about your communities, because if you went outside, the lady across the street was going to say, take your butt back in the house before I come and pop you or tell your mama. So you never needed a force enforcement to come and tell you what to do in the house, because the communities had it on lock. We don't have that no more. We have people that are so fearful that when they see stuff, they close their door because they don't want nothing knocking on coming to them. And look, y'all, it's okay, because they not the chosen ones. They wasn't built for that life. So we can't even get mad at people that wasn't built for what we was built for, because I guarantee you the things that I've been through health-wise in life, half of the people wouldn't even be able to walk a mile. They would have gave up a long time ago, okay? They would have been every drug that you can say that exists, they would have had it going on and trying to find more. So it takes a lot to see yourself, to see your past, and to see where you're going, Empress. You needed this. You was going and you needed it because you was getting out so much that you needed people to understand, because for so long, nobody has heard you. For so long, nobody has really understand you, because you might say one thing, but you might do something else. But this life that we live in cause us to go back and forth with ourselves. So stop thinking because we say something, but then we do something else, that don't mean that we where we supposed to be. We're trying to find this life out just like everybody else, and at the same time break generational curses. So no, I'm feeding off of you, and I'm listening to you because you got a story to tell, and the people need to hear it, and you need to help heal somebody. Islam.
I'll say Islam. And key what my sister just said. Through our testimonies, come on, somebody, they will be healed. Until we start opening up and actually speaking about our trauma and learning what it means to overcome it, we will continuously go through the cycles. We will continuously spiral because we haven't opened up our mouths and our hearts to be able to help somebody get through it. Why? Because we haven't even opened up our own hearts to what? Heal it. Okay. Some of y'all don't know, I was an evangelist. And when I was an evangelist, I had a pastor that once told me, he say, I shared him my full story with him one day. He say, when you decide to tell your story is when you're going to be your greatest. When you finally can heal enough that you can go back and help somebody else understand that, baby, it's okay you lost your baby. Guess what? It's okay that they took you from your mama. It's okay that they criticized you and put you down and mistreated you, that you got beat most of your life. It's okay. I went through it so that you may be able to that it may be known that you can overcome it. That your trauma does not have more power than your divinity of the blood running through your veins. Your strength, something to be grateful for. Your knowledge, something to be grateful for. If I could give you one thing to help you carry on throughout the rest of this year, and as we move forward into claiming the keys to our own kingdom, our divinity of ourselves, remember always that you are enough. Nobody else ever told you that. I'm telling you, you are enough. And you are loved by many. But until you open your mouth and start speaking up about the things that have happened to you within your own environment of what's supposed to be in safety, your father's supposed to be your protector. He was supposed to be your provider. Your mother was supposed to be your nurturer. We all had a title that had an entitlement attached to it, and yet and still some people couldn't live up to the entitlement of the title. I want you to forgive them right here and right now and claim back your power, because the more you keep hating them, the more you keep throwing the blame on them, the more you keep giving away your essence of your power to all that hurt, all that malice, all that rage, all that anger. I give a shout out to Brother Yosef and also Brother Panic's wife, Khadijah, because in my journey, I have went to them for counseling and guidance, and these are my living, breathing master teachers who have showed me that everything that I went through was to show somebody else how to get through that's going through the shadows of death. Somebody is going towards a death road, and guess what? You speaking up and being that embodiment that the ancestors knew you would be is going to draw the light to save their righteous souls. Sometimes we feel like we have to constantly do something when all we have to do is just exist and be grateful. Let me tell you something about the power of gratitude. No matter what you've been through, it's better to be in just, I'm grateful I overcame it, than I'm tired of this happening to me. And the reason why you go to a place of gratitude, because it brings you to balance. How can you be grateful and still hold so much anger? You can't. You have to learn how to release that. Even like the sister said, this spiritual path is not an easy one. Going down the rabbit hole of cleansing yourself and restoring yourself is going to cause a lot of pain, a lot of tears, a lot of heartache. You're going to get angry sometimes. You're going to get frustrated with people sometimes. And then you have those moments when you just have to come to right here and right now. And once again, just be grateful. I remember being so rooted in my hurt and my pain. I couldn't believe these things were happening to me. But the spirit of Oya said, I love you. I'm going to uproot you. And when I uproot you, everything around you is going to seem like it went into straight chaos. But will you trust me to guide you through? Will you trust your spiritual team? Would you trust whatever divinity you are connected to? Because I know on this live, we're not just dealing with Moroccans. We're not just dealing with occultists. We're not just dealing with shamanists. We're not just dealing with Yoruba E5 priestesses. We're dealing with a nation of people who have embedded this trauma that is stopping us from ascending to our highest potential of self. And a lot of times it's because we're still looking for approval, like children, from our people in our village. We're still waiting for our village to find our worth, to find our value, and we are missing the bigger picture. Until you find it in you, no one else will be able to see you. Until you start acknowledging you and acknowledging that through you, you have greatness flowing through your blood, no one else will realize how great you really are. It starts with you, not everybody else. And that's where we're missing the picture. I am a testament of always wanting somebody to just accept me. I told you I started off in a foster home, in the projects, was adopted, right? Or went through foster homes. Then I was adopted. And then I even had a teenage pregnancy. Let's talk about that real quick. And we're going to sum it up pretty much with this one. A lot of times we created other lives because we were missing something in our lives, trying to replace it with somebody else's life. We instantly saw potential of what somebody else could bring to us, and we held on that potential, even though it was not them. We transfer what we wanted them to be in our lives and then tried to make them slaves to be what we wanted them to be. And wondering why we have less marriages. We have less, I don't even want to say marriages, we have less connections. Because no one is a slave to no one else. Once again, that spirit of controlling. We haven't learned that pure love is a freedom. It's a freedom of, I don't have to live to uphold your insecurities, your fears. And then also we have these situations where now we're just reckless. I'm watching women and men have no respect, no boundaries for self, right? But they will curse you out if you don't give them some form of respect. I only can give you what you give what? Yourself. I can only present to you what you present as yourself. Hence why I have been in situations where I can walk into some rooms and instantly get treated with so much royalty and so much respect because that's how I carry myself. And I've seen a lot of jealous people attack me because I carry myself in such a manner. The question is, let me be, am I being the greatest reflection wherever I go and wherever I be? Like I told people earlier this week, I'm going to love you through whatever it is that you're going through, but that doesn't mean I have to be attached to what you're going through. How do you love somebody through? You speak it into their existence and you speak life. You speak the spiritual path of what? Truth, balance, and justice into their lives. Even if you're not dealing with them, send them away in a positive energy so that when the energy, the universal law says it's going to come back to you, the causes and effects of what you do is going to come back to you. The laws of correspondence is going to come back to you. It's going to come back in an echoing effect of positive energy because that's all I can project out. You can't control nobody else. You only can control yourself. So in controlling yourself, what I'm going to ask you to do is learn the responsibility of releasing and trying to fix everybody else. You can't fix them. They have to do it by themselves. The only thing you can do is learn how to heal you so that you can be an example for everyone else that's around you. And just like fire, when you are shining bright, whatever comes in this mist gonna have to shine along with you, or it has to flee. Sometimes we have to detach from our family because they are the reason why we are not excelling or ascending to where we have to go. And not worry about if you're going to still have a family. The spirit will provide you with everything you need once you come in alignment to self. When I say I have such a strong, powerful spiritual family now, I'm so grateful for my family. I'm so grateful, not for my family. Let me rephrase it. Let me call it right. For my nation, for my tribe. I've never been in such an environment where people are actually what? Pouring life into me because they see the greatest potential I possess. And guess what? The reason they see it is because I saw it in myself first and I started reflecting that same light to others. So now everyone who comes in my presence, I see you as spiritual beings. I don't see you as human beings anymore. I see the good in you, and I'm going to speak that good no matter what. Whether you want me to or not, I'm going to send you off in peace. Ashe? So with that being said, we've been on here almost an hour and almost 2 hours. We finna get ready to close it on out. Is there any questions or concerns that anybody who's watching might have for us? Do you have any questions? Anybody? Empress, can you see the questions? I can't see the questions right now.
No, Empress, you will have to. It will only be on your end. I only get to see my podcast questions, and so far we just have some people that say we need community and nations for and by our people, and told us to teach.
Ashe. And just for those
but
who
on your end, no, I was just saying if you saw it on your end, if you go on the side, you see hit on comments. And then will you see any comments anywhere?
Like I said, I'm learning this equipment, y'all. So I don't see it on my end, but I will learn how to run this system. I'm grateful for the future to be of knowing how to be able to navigate like this. Is my first time using this system. So y'all bear with me. If I don't see your questions, just understand and overstand that is not because I'm trying to ignore you. It's because I'm still learning the software system. I'm being authentic with you, okay? But something that I will bring out, and I just want to put this on the screen real quick, is the actual university. I want y'all, when my sister said that or somebody said about building systems that we might be able to teach. This is a system that we have created. It's an online school called Sacred Keys for You, in which you are the master and you are the teacher. I mean, you are the student and you are the teacher. You become the master teacher by what you do and what you love. We encourage everyone to tap into what you love to do. Why? Because when you tap into what you love to do and you're able to tell your experiences of how you overcame, guess what? You become the master teacher. Now you can teach somebody else how to get through. So we have all types of different classes, from telekinesis and communication to energy work to vision for youth, which is dealing with our youth and teaching them how to take their skills and their talents and to make it work for themselves. We're teaching them how to become entrepreneurs. The government wants to take our children and teach them how to become labor workers, how to work once again and building the American dream. Whereas we're going to teach our children how to become the people of the universe. We're going to teach them how to claim back the laws, the land, the air, and the water. We're going to teach them the Hermetic concepts of what our science teaches us as being melanated individuals. And then we also have 2 houses that we have coming up, in which we have is that, can y'all see that? Y'all see it in the corner? Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up on the other end. We have Vision for Youth, and then we also have MAAT, Divine Ministries. It's a couple of them. We also have my book. Here we go. We can go straight to the book. We have the book, which is going to help you break down how do we usher back in the ancestral throne? How do we usher back in the royalty of who we are? How do we claim back our essence? How do we acknowledge how to help the family heal by first being aware of where the healing needs to take place? How to communicate with each other, helping each other understand that, sis, brother, you do not have to endure these things, but you can heal so that we all can become whole again. Ashe. So I think that's all that I had to bring to the table on today. Once again, follow us, Sacred Keys for You. We're going to be diving deeper into chapter to chapter within the weeks to come. And also, if you are interested in coming live, or you have a strong message that you want to share with the community, each one teach one. Iron sharpens iron, and we learn from one another. And with that being said, Empress, did you have anything else you wanted to add to this particular live? You there, Empress? Uh-oh, did we lose you? Uh-oh, we lost Empress, so I'm just going to keep on going for a minute while she logs back in. because this was a very important, if you actually been watching from the beginning, I resonate with, I hope you resonate with the information that we have provided here. And we're going to have a lot more deeper conversations as we move further into this, because it's very important that we heal as a collective, as a community, as a nation, that we heal so that we may be able to have a better future for the future to come. Once again, for those who are looking for ways to actually deal with this energy, come and join us once again at Sacred Keys Universal Nation, okay, where we are teaching you the life skills and the alchemy, the transitioning, the history. We are even teaching you the PMAs of how to build your own trust. We also have Oshun's Temple. We also have Olokun's Temple, which is for the men, okay? Like I said, I don't know where Empress disappeared to. Hopefully she can join us back in just a second. Give us 1 minute, y'all. Let's find out where Empress disappeared to. Okay, she should be joining back in just a second. Do apologize for the interruptions, but however, we are grateful for the clarity and the understanding and the most of all the know-how. Ashe. The know-how of how to heal, spiritual work. Once again, check us out. Coming to us already in Amazon. You can go and order The Return of the Ancestral Throne. I guarantee you, you cannot read this book and still be the same as you were. That this book will help you to understand why your family members are responding and acting the way they are acting. But most of all, I'm going to read this while we're waiting for Empress to come back and join us. And before we close out, the Kemetic text describes Earth as the realm where gods are tested. Did you hear what I said? Earth is a place where the gods of creation are tested. The dogmatics speak of Earth as a forge where spirits are tempered in the fires of experience. Okay, that means that we are going through transformations that are requiring. Hold on, what's going on? I don't know what happened. Hold on 1 second. It shut down. Ashe. Okay. Okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and close out. I don't know exactly what happened, but we have been on here long enough. So we will, once again, look forward to us moving further in the future, where we're going to have more episodes and more teachings that's going to teach us more on how to navigate through this thing called life, okay? Navigate through this thing called life, okay? We wish you all a very prosperous and abundant day, and we're going to end it right here. Once again, my name is EGBEKEMI OSHUNLEWA. I am the goddess and the high priestess of Olokun's Temple, Oshun's Temple and Vision for Youth. And most of all, I am a moderator at Sacred Keys Universal Nation, where we are teaching the proper steps of how to heal through your alchemy, your shadow work, your chakras. We are working with energy workers. We have some dynamic teachers that have actually, oh, here we go. She's back, y'all. She's back. Ashe. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. There go the one and the only Jennifer Steele. Ashe. I'm going to learn how to get this horn on so it can be like, doom. All right. So once again, I was just getting ready to close out because I was just trying to buy time and reading some things out of my book. But once again, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we close out, Empress?
Yeah, a few things I will say is you all subscribe, like, and share to MAAT Divine YouTube. It's www.youtube.com/@MAAT Divine. And you all stay tuned because we have some things coming up. Actually, I believe Monday, me and my 16-year-old is coming on. So I'm doing a podcast with the mind of a 16-year-old in the world now today. So
Oh,
pray
I'm
for me,
looking
y'all.
forward to that one. I
but
say.
we have that coming up. I want to give good shout outs to Pam for the nation building. I want to get a good shout out to Noble Temple number 4 off 7 Mile and Telegraph. You all, them brothers is doing their thing. If you all want to go there on a Friday when they have their holy day, you can. And thank you for allowing me to be on here again. You have said a lot. You have went deep. You have become comfortable with having those uncomfortable conversations. Now, I just ask everyone else to do the best that they can to help break the generational curses. And the first thing, it goes within yourself. And every day that you wake up, try saying something positive to yourself, something loving to yourself. Don't get up and say, oh, my back hurt. I ain't dealing with none of this today. Because now the whole day is about to be riffraff, because this is how you started your day. This is what you told the universe. So the universe not going to be like, no, I'm not going to let you have a bad day, because you shouldn't be thinking like that. The universe is going to say, oh, your back is hurting? Well, let me help you make it hurt even worse. You know, so let's watch our mouth, because words are spells. And that's how we became and where we are now today, speaking curses on ourselves. We be like, whoo, the devil is busy. Why are you allowing that in your life? Don't allow it in your life and it won't be busy, because that's not what you're thinking about. You're thinking about all the positive things that you have going on. So my keynote to go out is focus more on the positive and not stand on the negative. Islam.
One more time for those who are looking to support my sister, please follow her into the MAAT Divine podcast, and also follow us. Like I said, this is our 3rd year and we're evolving. I'm grateful that we have evolved to this platform. Ashe, a Sacred Keys for you. Look forward to, like I say, our next live, which will be Wednesday, streaming at 7 p.m. We will be diving deep into the archetype and the blueprint of the mother. We're finna really dissect the family, so follow us. This is just the intro to what we finna really start unwinding and breaking down. We finna really bring you who God really is, walking and breathing on earth. Ashe. So look forward to us on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And to everyone else, once again, remember, sometimes you are the living, walking word. You are the reason why somebody else is able to walk into their divinity, because you shined your light so bright and you were in alignment with your calling to the point where you are authentic in your calling, and it echoed an effect in somebody else's life. Okay, so breaking the generational system that has been programmed within us is now us claiming the authority to reprogram what is destined for the future to come. We're talking about generations to come later. Y'all have a wonderful night. I love you all. And once again, Empress, I love your support. I love what you're doing in the community. And most of all, I love how you're ushering back Maya's energy. People don't realize how powerful that is to usher back in the balance of our existence as being spiritual beings. With that being said, I love each and every last one of y'all. Kingdom Keys University. Sacred Keys for You University and Kingdom Keys Universal Nation. Thank you for your love and your support. I could never go without these wonderful gods and goddesses who have come together to see the vision of what we are moving forward within, claiming our divinity and our birthright. Up under this next full moon, let me leave you with a ritual. Give acknowledgement to your ancestors. Take a spiritual bath, because your spiritual hygiene is very important in your spiritual growth moving forward. And up under this full moon in Leo, do some research, study to show yourself approved. What does this mean? Why is it so important that we are following this astrology of the moon phases? Because there's a power that comes with it. And when you study to show yourself approved, you find yourself as being part of that power, and you claim that power, embody that power. Because tomorrow, February the 1st, we are claiming our crowns. Some of you are having burning in the middle of your foreheads, your third eye, eye has been activated. You are crystallized, you are active, and you are ready to claim your kingdom. Your kingdom has been at hand. Now, are you in a place to receive the keys to the kingdom? And if you receive your key, then claim your crown. Y'all have a wonderful night. I love y'all. Peace, love, and abundance. See y'all Wednesday. Ashe.